KISS, Keeping It Simple with SinglePath. I'm Bill Borbas, and my guest today is Ian Dispoiu, Senior Director of Business Technology at American Society of Plastic Surgeons. Ian, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Ian, I've noticed your title has changed. You used to be Senior Director of Information Technology, and now it says Business Technology. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we rebranded ourselves. I think the technology team, us as technology team, we do so much more than just being the information technology. We are touching the business in so many ways. So we're not just cable brokers or monitor brokers. We're so much more than that. And we're bringing a lot of value to the business. And we decided to rebrand ourselves as business technology. But as you know, it takes time for everyone to adjust. We have most of the organizations right now is calling us business technology. Some are calling us BT for short. Some are still calling us IT. But right now we are business technology.
And the last time we spoke, we got to hear about your exciting journey to going 100% software as a service. How's that coming along?
We made some progress. We are about shy of 20% of our servers that we have moved to a SaaS environment. And I think in next month, we're going to get close to like 25%. So we've done, like, for instance, take antivirus software. We've had that on servers to take care of all the antivirus software on all of our clients, that servers or desktop computers, laptop computers. So we moved that to the cloud. We also moved our ADFS server that has to do with single sign-on. We moved that to Office 365 because Office 365 offers single sign-on. So no more need for all the servers to be maintained. So all in all, we got close to just shy of 20%, reaching 20% progress. So we still have ways to go, but we gave ourselves until 2023. So that's our progress so far.
Very exciting. It's
a
lot of progress already.
It is.
We had talked, we met about a week or so ago, you were diving into how you're using Power Apps, and there's a lot of ways that you are utilizing those applications. For our listeners who aren't familiar with Power Apps, what is that?
Power Apps is a service provided by Microsoft that enables technology departments, and not even technology departments, also just the business who are using Office 365 to automate or bring to market applications rapidly. And those applications can be in an app. It's a Power App from Microsoft, or it can be accessed via web. So think about you just sign in this, when you came in. In the past, we used to have that signing process with a piece of paper. You sign in your name, time in, who you want to see, and then when you leave the place, you would just put a time you sign out, and that piece of paper would be filed and kept there for a while. That wasn't the case today, was it?
No, it was a very, very clean app. I saw an iPad on the receptionist's desk, put my name, my company, and your name in, and that was it. And apparently you were notified right after I did that.
Exactly. So what we've done was we built this Power App. And Power Apps from Microsoft uses or leverage the entire Microsoft ecosystem. Leverages SharePoint, OneDrive, so everything that has to do Microsoft Flow, which right now I think that they changed that. Microsoft changed the name from Microsoft Flow to Power Automate, so everything is Power. We do have the power. So, but that's what we've done. We built this app for the iPad, and when you signed in, there was a record that got created in SharePoint. And so now we're being compliant with PCI. As a one item of compliance is you have to keep a list of every visitor signing in. So instead of having this stack of paper or scanning them in, everything is right now automated within SharePoint. So an item is being created on SharePoint, and the notification email is sent to the person that's being visited. So that's what we've done there with Power Apps. But that's just one Power App.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. I know you're using it in several different
Yeah.
areas. So if you can get into some of those use cases. I know you've used it for conferences. I know that's one of the areas.
Yes, we've done that too. So we looked at ways of how do we digitize some of the non-digital solutions that we have in place. So at annual meeting, year over year, an email would be sent out to everyone attending the conference with a list of, hey, here are the people who are going to be on site, and their phone numbers. And then also, hey, if you have a question, we have put together an FAQ. Well, those are static and they stay into someone's inbox, but they're obsolete as soon as they leave someone's inbox, or as soon as it was sent by a user. So to make it more efficient, what we've done is created two lists, or a couple of lists actually, in SharePoint, and then we brought those lists into a Power App. And so everyone who goes to a conference, to our annual meeting, all they have to do is just pull this Power App, and in there they can look up any staff attending the conference, and they can connect to them. They can also look at FAQs, they can look at the map of the convention center. So everything is within quick reach within the Power App. So yeah, that's another thing that we've done. And there's just a lot more that we're working on. I mean, again, the goal is to automate some of the work that's non-digital right now, or that takes some time. One thing that we've done and we're working on right now for the finance team, and there are times when the finance team, they need to run some processes, and they have them scattered all over the place. And some were done in Microsoft Flow, so they would have to go to Microsoft Flow, Power Automate, the Microsoft is calling them now. So what we've done, we're trying to aggregate everything into one app, one Power App that's going to be used just by the finance team. They will be the only one having access to that, and it's going to be much easier for them. So take, for instance, refreshing the data warehouse. In the past, they had to do that via a flow, and now it's going to be via this Power App. So they, just like Microsoft Flow, or they push a button, same thing with the Power App. They will push a button or tap on automating, or tap on running this process. Or we have some integration between ADP and our timesheet, where data from the timesheet flows into ADP. And that needs to be done on demand, and it needs to be executed on demand when the person in finance needs that data to be extracted from or timesheet into ADP. Well, that's another candidate for this app. We also had some instances where finance team have had requests from the business side of adding some description of different GL accounts. And since that field is not really available within their financial system, they used to have an Excel file. They were sharing this Excel file with everyone. Well, we extracted that information, brought it into the data warehouse, and now the finance team, through the Power App, they can adjust, they can add a description to every GL account. That's a bit confusing to some of the staff. So we're looking at ways to automate everything that we can, and to simplify processes, to digitize processes. So yeah.
What is the interface that a user would have? So you mentioned at a conference, I'm assuming it's an app on either an iPhone or Droid. PC,
yeah,
can you access it through a PC, a Mac? Is it browser? How are people?
That's a good question. So Power Apps, it can be a web-based, or it's so it can be accessed via your Office 365 tenant. online, or if a user has a phone, they can download this Power App. And this Power Apps from Microsoft is available from, on an iPhone, on an Android phone. You log in with your Microsoft credentials, and then you'll see different Power Apps the organization made available to you. And from there, you just open the app, open this application within the Power Apps app, you download it, and it looks just like other app. So you get rapid development, and it's not just members of the technology team who can build this, but anyone basically. There is so easy to put together. So,
and do you have to be an Office 365 user, or is this
yes,
for any? So you have to be Office 365 users. So it's not a public facing. It's more. Does it tend to be more internal?
Yes, you need to be a Microsoft user, an Office 365 tenant, and then you have access to it. And Microsoft, I believe, have different tiers. So you have a tier of Power Apps that's available with your E3, E1 subscription, whatever subscription you have. And then they do have, I think it's a P1 or P2. It's another tier where you pay a little extra and you have access to all kinds of connectors. So if you heard of IFTT, if this, then that, it's not really like that. But it follows kind of a bit of same concept where you can automate a lot of things. And what Microsoft has done has built a lot of connectors where you can right now connect to different, it can connect to a server in your environment or a database in your environment, and not just within. So let's say if you have a Azure environment, you can connect to anything there. But we're not in Azure, we are in AWS. And we have connected to some servers in AWS, databases in AWS, web services in AWS. So paying a little extra gives you a lot more connectors to play with. One of the things that we've done last year with Power Apps, and you may find this quite interesting, last year we introduced a chatbot for our members at last year's conference. And we had a team of staff in charge of monitoring anything coming from users of this chatbot, because it wasn't perfect. So we still had questions that were not answered. So we built into the chatbot a way to hand off to a human any unanswered questions. And when we saw through the emails that we were receiving, there were questions that the bot did not understand. We planned for that through a Power App, because what we came up with is we need a way to add a quick question and a quick response if we had that response to a question that we didn't think about. So we built another Power App that connected to this database that feeds the chatbot. And it was just as easy. So we got a question, let's say from a member attending the conference via the chatbot, and the chatbot did not know how to answer it. And staff who received this email responded and helped the member right away. And then after they went into the Power App, they added the question, they added the answer, and in turn that question and answer was available for the next attendee. So yeah, we're trying to automate as much as we can.
You had mentioned some of the systems that Power Apps talks to, SharePoint, OneDrive, MS Flow, now Power Automate. What type of level of expertise do you need to have in all of these applications to be successful using Power Apps?
I think some require, it depends on how in depth you want to go, what do you want to do with a Power App. It can take no technical skill whatsoever. If you're, for instance, a user of SharePoint and you have some elevated access within SharePoint, I think you can see an icon in a SharePoint list where you can create a Power App right from there. So if you do have a list that you want to in SharePoint and you want to make it available via Power App, you can do that without knowing anything about Power Apps, without knowing too much about SharePoint. You just click a link and Microsoft takes care of that for you. And then you just click a few more items and you're done. Now, if you wanted to build things more in depth, then you need some kind of experience to connect to a database. You need some kind of a connector. But even those, Microsoft has a lot of resources that you can tap into and get the information you need.
So not only are you using Power Apps to automate and simplify processes, the actual use of Power Apps has been largely automated and simplified. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. What else can you tell us?
That's what we're trying to constantly look for ways to simplify our staff's processes, or one of our goals is to help with bringing more efficiencies into everything that staff do. And if you pay attention, from a technology standpoint, if you pay attention, let's say if you take 2 hours of your day and spend with someone with your partner from the business side, you can find a lot of stuff to automate or to help them improve in their processes. So that's what we've been trying to do.
Well, Ian, it is always a pleasure. Thank you once again for joining the show, and thank you for sharing your knowledge.
My pleasure. It's been a pleasure being part of this podcast, so thank you.
And thank you to our listeners for joining KISS, Keeping It Simple with SinglePath. If you found value in our podcast, please subscribe and comment. You can also follow SinglePath on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and of course, singlepath.com. Thank you.